My battle with leukemia started in 2007. I was just going to school and I came back home to do rotations. One day my nose started bleeding, which is very common for me, so I didn't think anything of it, but after 2 hours of it not stopping, I was kind of worried and I should go to the hospital, but at that time I didn't have insurance, so that was a big thing that was stopping me, but I knew better, and so I went to the hospital and they tested my blood and they stopped the nosebleed, and about an hour later they put masks on me, and they put masks on everybody that was around me, and they moved me to an isolated room. Did a bone marrow biopsy on me, and the results came back the day after, and she came in and said, "I have good news. You have leukemia, but it's curable." But we started chemotherapy within 2 days. So I dropped everything. I dropped school. I dropped everything in my life. And I've gone through chemotherapy for about 2 years. I was all clear. Everything was good, and I was getting ready to go back to school, and had another biopsy, and the leukemia showed up again. So that's when the doctor said, you know, we need to send you to a bigger hospital, and you need to have a bone marrow transplant. And that's where my real journey began, because that was pretty much life or death right there.
We could treat his leukemia further with chemotherapy, but the only chance of a cure and going back to live his life fully was to eventually have a bone marrow transplant. We talked about whether he had family who could donate, brothers or sisters, and unfortunately there were none. Well, then we started looking for an unrelated donor, and with the knowledge that for Asian patients it's a little more difficult because the amount of available donors is limited.
Well, when I first found out I had a donor, or a matching donor, I was excited, but still kind of nervous, because I actually did find one donor in June, and they said they weren't available until August. Within those 2 months I got really ill, so we had to restart the chemotherapy again and all that, and when August came around, it turned out that that donor was no longer available. I was back at square one, but luckily I found another match.
Well, I was in college and I got recruited to be a bone marrow donor, and a little bit over a year ago I was called to, you know, I was a match to someone. I was kind of surprised because, you know, I thought it's such a small chance, being Asian and all, that this one doesn't really happen to too many Asian people, and to, you know, having a match is such a rare occurrence. And I don't know, I was surprised, but at the same time, when I signed up, I was fully ready to, you know, accept it if I was ever asked to do it. So,
if I were to meet my donor, I couldn't say thank you enough. You know, I could probably say it 1,000 times, a million times, but you know, all I can say is thank you and give them a hug if they'll let me. And I think the expression on my face and my family would be more than enough to explain how we feel.
It's weird because I've never had, you know, a complete stranger be so thankful for something that I did. He keeps telling me that, you know, I was the brave one, but I feel like he is the one that had to go through a lot. You know, he went through 18 months of hospitalization. He's still fighting with it, and he's definitely the person who's stronger for doing this.
Matthew Nguyen had his transplant on September 19, 2009. A year later, Matthew had an opportunity to meet and thank his donor, Diep, during A3M's annual fundraiser at the Cerritos Center for the Performing Arts, amongst A3M supporters and their families and friends.
Matthew Nguyen, will you please come on stage? Ladies and gentlemen, Diep.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm just excited. Finally get to put a face to the person that saved my life. I've been thinking about her every day since the transplant, and
I'm just excited that she's able to give me life and my entire family life back as well.
When you got that call, how does it feel when you get that call? I mean, are you scared? Are you excited? Can you explain how that works?
I mean, I was surprised at first. I never thought I'd be called because I know that this isn't a common thing among Asians. And, you know, when I got the call, they asked, do you want to do it? I guess there was just no hesitation because rarely do any of us get a chance to do something really huge for anybody without it being remotely selfish in any way. And, you know, it was a simple decision. It was such a small thing on my part to do such a huge thing for somebody else. So, you know, it was hard to say no to such an opportunity.